Well, howdy guys. Professor Dude here. Good to see you. Mel was, or Lloyd was recounting the story about where the dude came from, and they got it fairly close. If any of you haven't heard that story, we can get into it a little later. It stuck though. Which is okay. I think, anything that gives you a brand identity is a good thing. So if it's to be Professor Dude, then so be it. Bill, Metro Drones, thank you so much, my friend. Good to see you. I enjoyed seeing you on with Kelly the other night. Did a great job. Great job. Now we got to get you to come on here with us one night. Anyway, good evening, everybody. How are you? How is everybody doing? I'm looking at not one but two clowns in the green room trying to make me laugh, and I think I need to bring these guys in before I say hi to everybody, because otherwise I won't be able to keep a straight face. So. There he is, Art Carlson. How you doing, Art? Can't hear you, Art.
Might work if I turn on the there we go.
There you go. Uh-oh, one of them is sliding sideways. And the second person trying to make me laugh in the green room is now.
Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to thank you. I talked to Mitch a couple of minutes ago, and he helped him with some binding issues for this little eSheen thing, and I took it out on a flight, and it's awesome. I haven't flown a Tinyhawk in a while.
Cool.
Wow, cool.
Looks like a candy cane. You're welcome, Ken. Glad it worked out.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be American flag. Merca.
Looks like a candy cane. Looks like something that might taste like peppermint. It looks great.
Let me see. Nope, tastes like my front lawn, which is where I landed it.
So how did it fly? Did it fly good?
Yeah, I could mess with some of the settings, but yeah, it flew well. Let me ask you something, and then I'll let you guys go. I don't want to be a bother, but this whole thing with the battery situation, it comes with two little batteries, you know,
Yeah.
and it seems to only have a slot for one. So I had to put this strap on. Is that generally what you do? I just put this little.
Yeah, they don't plan real well for those things.
They don't.
But yeah, a little battery strap. A lot of guys just use rubber bands, stick rubber bands in there to, lift them up, stick the batteries. You're not gonna lose that battery. It's not like it weighs, a ton and it's gonna fall off.
Right. Okay.
Are you gonna fly it with? Are you gonna fly it mostly with 2 cells?
I think so. You can fly it with one, but it won't last. It won't have the punch, right?
No, it won't be as exciting. It's better for beginners, the 1 cells, but
Yeah. Okay. All right.
yeah, good. So when you went into beta flight and everything worked out, all the mode switches lined up and everything.
I went into beta flight just to make sure that it would arm. I'm afraid of beta flight. It frightens me.
And were you able to switch from angle mode to acro mode, or was it just in acro mode all the time?
It'll do angle. Yeah, but just those two.
Yeah, because
cool.
you don't know how it comes from the factory, how beta flight's mode switches are set up. So and whether it's mapped to the same channel in your radio that you have your mode switch. That was what I had said. We could go over here if you wanted to.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to bore everybody with that, because I mean beta flight is just. I mean,
that's what we do here.
That's get a root canal without Novocaine and do beta flight.
Come on, that's what this is for, to help people through that kind of stuff, and guys come here to learn how to do it. So,
well,
if you'd like,
I don't want to monopolize your stream.
Okay. Well, I like having you here, Ken. So hang around if you like, or take the rest of the day off. It's up to you.
Well, I have a little bit of light left, so I'm gonna fly it one more time.
All right. Well, you have a good time.
Thank you, guys.
Love
All
your
right.
show.
Art. All right, bye,
Take
Art.
care.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Yeah. I spent about a half an hour on the phone with Ken as the time was approaching for me to come online here. So helping him get his receiver and that little thing bound. So
Awesome.
nice of him to stop by and say hello. And not to be outdone by Ken Herron, Mr.
Never
Carlos.
in a million years. Anyway,
How you
good
doing,
afternoon,
buddy?
good evening.
How you doing?
Hello.
Good. Well, listen. Let me say hi to. Let me go back and start saying hi to people in the chat, man, because I'm neglecting.
If you want, I can
Jaybird,
help you.
Drone Shots, Jody, how you doing? Bob, Casey, reminding everybody that I'm Professor Dude. Thank you. Jerry, Drone Obsessed, says he's going to be working, but he'll be listening. And we have Dan. Danny, Drone Worship. Hi, Dan. How you doing, brother? Bob Casey, Drone Worship. Chris
Okay.
Hope is in the house. And Paulie, ace pilot that he is in the house. Man, I got to tell you, Paulie, I was highly impressed. Isn't that right, Carlos? This morning watching you guys.
Big time.
Oh,
putting
man.
in the facts.
You're a natural. You're a natural, Paul, and just keep doing it. Next thing you know, you'll be flying 5-inch quads, ripping up the trees at 100 miles an hour. And who else we got?
You say hi to Drone Days?
Natural. Roosevelt's in the house, and Drone Bum got him Fly Natural. Chris Hope, Yowie, P51. Good day, mate. How you doing?
Mike Night
Down
Train?
there from the east coast of Australia, and I'm getting there. Ray Kelly's in the house. Hi, Ray. How you doing? Bill at Metro Drones. Thanks again, buddy. I appreciate that.
Drone Shots.
AZ Drone Dude, my friend. Good to see you. Bob, Drone Days is in the house. Somebody named Artco.
Chris Hope.
Sounds like aluminum siding company to me. Artco. Agent K, dude. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
House of Hope.
And man, this is just going on and on and on and on.
I don't know if you said hello to Chris Hope.
Metro Drones. I did.
Okay.
And I'll say hi again, Chris.
Yep.
Drone Bum, Ray Kelly, Agent K, I think we're
Michael
getting a lot of
McReynolds just
repeats,
joined
but I don't
us.
want to.
Yep.
I don't want to miss any. Nitrate, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Mhm.
Welcome. Good to see you. Rick Halber's in the house.
Jay
I
Bird.
understand Rick's in the hospital again. So
No way.
Rick
I-
doesn't listen when we tell him to stop going to the hospital, but
Well,
hope
you
you
know
feel
what?
better, buddy.
Can
I
I
hope you
say
feel better,
something?
my friend.
Mr. Mitch, can I
Yes.
say? I think it's time for Rick Halbert to give up his address so that we or I can send him something, because he just sent me another 8 batteries for my Tinyhawk.
Oh man.
And it's time for
Well-
us to give back to Rick. So, Rick, I'm expecting an address somewhere so that I can somehow do something nice for you, please.
Well, that's very nice of you, Carlos, and I
I'd
think
like
a
to,
lot of us feel the same. A lot of us feel the same way. So when Rick sends you his address, share it with me too.
If he says it's okay,
I'll-
won't he?
I'll send him some cookies. And
wanna
then
send him
Paul's in the
something,
house.
yeah.
Joe Blaylock is in the house. How you doing? Mike Roche is in the house. Wow, look at the crowd we got here.
I see 27.
And, Ed, staying vertical. That's always a good thing, Ed. Michael McReynolds is here. Good going, guys. Yeah, we're
Brent Nunley just joined you.
and Brent Nunley. Hi, Brent. How you doing? So that takes me down to the bottom of the list, and got a nice turnout tonight. Welcome everybody. Welcome, Art. How you doing, buddy? You didn't have a show today.
Nope. That's because we went so long last night. I didn't have enough time to do an hour show for Art's place.
Oh, you ran out your StreamYard's
Yeah.
allotment, huh?
I went to 19 hours and 19 minutes.
Well, you could have started a stream.
Yeah, but there was so much stuff that
I
you
did
know.
I ran up
it
to
needed
19
an
hours.
hour, a little more.
I
Yeah.
ran up to 19 hours and 44 minutes.
Oh boy.
One day before my thing rolled over, and on Thursday night I started my stream, and I started it, and they said if you start it we won't cut you off, and it had 19. It was just 15 minutes shy of the limit, and I managed to get the whole 2-hour deal in there. So you just got to keep track of it. That's all. That's all. So yeah, that was a nice deal, you guys. Nice deal you had this morning out there at the
Oh,
park.
yeah.
You need to get. You're in the dark there, Carlos. I can't hardly
Yeah.
see you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, are you in witness protection?
I just look better in the dark.
Yeah. There you go. Well, don't we all? Don't we all? I have a magic remote control right here.
I thought it was a magic wand.
No, it's a magic remote. See, it just turns
Nice.
off all my lights, and then I can get ready for the flash, guys. Boom.
Damn.
The coolest thing just happened. So I'm on the phone with Ken, and we're trying to figure out. And evidently he's got an older version of OpenTX on his Tyrannus, and the things his Tyrannus is telling him are different than the things that my Tyrannus are telling. But we took a shot, and right in the middle of this phone call, I hear this rumbling,
Uh-oh.
and damn if they didn't launch a rocket from the Cape right up the road.
Oh boy.
And I said to him, I think they just launched a rocket. He says, where do you live? I said, about 20 miles south of Cape Canaveral. He says, well, I was born in Cape Canaveral.
Yep.
And I said, well, my daughter was born in Cape Canaveral at the hospital there on the Causeway. He says, well, that's where I was born. And he is 5 years older than my daughter. So
Oh, my.
it was right around the same time. Come to think of it, that's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden I hear a sonic boom.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's
cool.
That was the first stage
Right.
coming back. It breaks the sound barrier, and that's the first time I ever heard that sonic boom. The conditions must have been just right. And damn, if heard this thing, and there's no mistaking a sonic boom. And all
Yep.
this while I was on the phone instead of out there watching it with my very eyes. But we don't watch them down here, and they're launching 2 of them this weekend today. They have 2
Wow.
launches today scheduled at the Cape.
Wow.
And it reminds me of a scene from Ocean's 11. You remember that movie?
Heard about it.
Okay. You remember he's sitting in the hotel room. Sitting in the hotel room in Vegas, and he's watching the big screen TV, and what they're showing on the big screen TV is the demolition of a Vegas hotel.
Yeah.
Okay? And he's watching it on the TV, and it's happening right outside of his window.
Oh.
But instead of turning around and watching it out the window, he's sitting there watching it on the TV. And that's how I feel when it comes to these rocket launches. You know, I'm sitting there watching it on TV, and it's happening right outside. But on TV, I get all kinds of data and.
Well, I wouldn't want it happening inside.
Yeah.
That'd be a problem.
Where's that boob? Oh, I got it here somewhere. God, look at the crowd we got here. 34 people. Wow. Good. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming in. Anyway, I'm not missing anybody else in the green room. And
Michael Blade joined us just to say hello to Mr. Michael Blade.
Michael.
Hello, Michael.
How you doing? RC Funds Diversions is here. Good to see you. How do
We not to
all these people here?
try not to talk about him. I'm just kidding.
Big B69 is here. Welcome.
So what did you think of Mr. Drone Bombs Flying? Not bad, right?
I
From
think
1 week to the
I thought it
next?
was kind of funny when he took off in stabilized mode and didn't know what, and that's what happens to you after you get used to flying in acro mode. When you're in stabilized mode by mistake, you think there's something wrong, you know, because you just can't fly the thing. You just can't fly it.
But his progression has been pretty outstanding, I think.
Yeah.
From 1 week to
Fly
the next.
Natural asks if they throw up a TFR when they launch. Not usually, because the whole area is a permanent TFR. You're not allowed to fly anywhere near there anyway. So there's really nothing more that they have to restrict, since it's like a TFR over the White House. You know, it's just always you can't fly there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Love and Beyond Drones is here. Mitch, I think you're up to
Jim,
38. This is like the most I've ever seen. 38.
I've never seen this. Wow. Now, if it gets to 40, I'm going to get nervous. It's back down to 35. Okay. I'm going to start to get real nervous. I mean, you know what I did today just for fun? I was looking at I went back to the first live stream I did, my first one, and I was watching a couple minutes of it, and it was laughable. I mean, I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. It was just kind of a test, but and then that's when Michael Bainey, my first person that ever came in and saw me live, came into the chat, and it was me and Michael, and that was it, the two of us. And I think I maybe had one or two more people showed up, but that was in January of 2019. Ooh. So I can't believe that it's been over a year and a half I've been doing these things. It seems like it seems like forever. You know how it goes, and then it also seems like it was just yesterday. So time is funny. Time is funny like that. All right, Carlos, I'm going to leave it up to you to monitor the chat.
I got it.
And I'll leave it up to Art for the wisecracks and to be silly. Art's the plucky comic relief of the show. If anybody has any questions or anything that they'd like to talk about, put it in the chat. Otherwise, I want to show you what I'm doing here, and I had planned to actually start doing a little bit of work tonight, since this
I
is
took out the
workshop.
Mavic Air 2 today and testing out the zoom functions in 1080p. You can get up to 4x zoom on that.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw your video, and it really worked. It really worked well.
Yeah.
Because you're not really, you're just zooming in on the sensor, but you're still getting the same 1080p resolution. You're just using less of the sensor surface.
Yeah.
And it really zoomed in.
It does degrade a little bit, but it's not terrible.
Well,
what is Jaybird writing?
Not
6
much.
times?
Not much, but it looked good. It looked good.
Yeah.
I had a dream you and a whole bunch of guys stormed Area 51 with FPV drums, and you guys got bad missiles and bullets. And that's not a dream, Roosevelt. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. So what we got over here, guys, and I'm gonna go over here to the table,
That's a
And
fuselage.
what I got here,
Uh-oh, you went black.
is
You
the-
got a
You went-
black
you went-
box.
oh,
There
you're
you
back.
go.
You're good. You're good.
yeah, that's the capture card. Sometimes on this camera goes out and comes back on for some strange reason. So
Nice.
let me
You
go
gonna
ahead
get
and
rid of-
get it.
You're gonna get rid of me and Art?
No,
And-
I'm gonna
oh, no?
just. I need to make me. I'm just gonna make this like this,
Okay.
Ah,
yeah.
and
there
you
we
guys
go.
can stay on the side. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that looks
it's
good
not
there.
it's not really going to be that. I'm just going to go over a couple things that I did and maybe get started on the
Uh-huh.
flight controller. And if we start seeing the viewer count go down to nothing, you let me know and we'll stop this stuff because people
Got
are
it.
bored to death, and we'll talk or do something else. But this is the little airplane, the little baby version. I'm not going to put it all together anyway. It looks like this. Looks like that. It's cute
Cool.
as hell. Took the wings off it. There's a carbon spar that goes through the center of the whole thing. And we're gonna put in this tiny little sub 250 gram fixed wing, we're gonna put a full-blown iNav FPV installation, which will have all the functionality of the bigger wings. And it's going to also have the lithium-ion 18650 cells, 3,500 milliamps, which will give this little puppy over an hour of flight time, long enough to bore yourself silly. And so, what I wanted to show you first thing is, if you can see inside here, I want to try to get the light right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
we
you
can
go.
see it. Yeah.
They don't give you any plywood or any place to mount anything in here. That's just the top part of this black foam that's on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So you got to come up with something for that. I mean, you could just stuff everything down in there and let it rattle around, but that's not the way to do things.
Yeah.
So the flight controller goes back here, and the battery goes here. And I already
Yeah.
put the whole thing together and set it all in there to make sure that I was fairly close to where the CG is before I started doing anything. So the first thing I did, and I did this today, was I 3D printed this piece right here. Okay?
Mhm.
And what this is this
That
this
keeps
part
everything
here
in
is
place.
yeah, this part here is actually about 4 millimeters higher up than this part. So
Right.
if you look at the bottom of the thing it goes on these 2 feet. This part here goes flatted onto that, and the thing fits in there just like that,
Oh,
and butts up against that little bulkhead that's here.
right.
And
right.
And then, because of this cutout underneath, the battery strap goes in there like
Okay.
this. And then there's some of that sticky rubber stuff to hold the battery in place. So the battery just straps on like this. And that'll let you get the battery out. So I'll strap the battery in onto this little plate.
That's what she said.
That's it. And as you can see, the strap, I guess you can see
Yeah.
the fact that these 2 things will be taped down to the bottom with double-sided tape, and this will be double-sided tape to here, and the flight controller will mount to this back part of the plate. That whole little puppy fits right in there. Fits right in there like that.
Right.
So so I got that designed, and I did that on a program called Tinkercad, which is a kind of a very basic CAD program that you can do, and you work it online, and for doing something with basic shapes like that, it's fine. It works great. The next thing that's going to go in there is this Maytech 411 WSE, which stands for, I think, Wing Special Edition. And this is pretty much the same setup that I put in that little Drift. Remember the Zod Drift, that little powered glider?
Yeah.
thing that I built. This is pretty much the same motor, same flight controller, and they give you a few spare screws here, and
Right,
here is the here's the little flight controller. And that's it.
Ah.
And you can see the
Oh,
size of this
cool.
thing. It's just
Cute.
Is that
Cute little
3030 or
thing.
2020?
2020. There's a
2020,
penny.
right?
There's
wow.
there's a penny, so you can see the size of that little flight controller.
Wow.
For anybody that wonders, 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter. That's the size.
Correct. And that's not necessarily the size of the stack. They're called 20 by 20 stacks because they have mounting holes. Now this
Screw
does
to
not.
screw?
Screw to screw. This does not mount to a traditional stack mount. It actually has a base here, and you just double side tape the base.
Show us the base again. I didn't see it. Oh, okay,
Ah.
got it.
There it is.
There
it
you
just has a base, and once you get everything soldered up, you just take and put some double sticky tape on this and stick it down in there. There's no through holes like a standard flight controller would have to
Right.
go on a stack. This is designed pretty much for fixed wing airplanes, and I got to turn my fan up a little bit. These lights and computer generate so much heat in here. So if you hear
And
the
it's
fan
got
noise,
the
I
USB
apologize.
on top, which is cool.
You went black screen.
It'll come
Yeah,
out.
you're back. You're back. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, Mitch, do you
Yes.
ever use hot glue instead of the double-sided tape? Somebody just said
Well,
hot glue mount.
Yeah, not to glue this kind of stuff in.
Okay.
You could. I don't know if I'd hot glue this.
No.
There's a couple of different types of tape. There's this stuff,
Right.
which is your basic foam tape, and this stuff, once it sticks, it doesn't come unstuck. If you try to pull it off, you'll rip the foam.
Gotcha.
And that's
Right.
not a bad thing, being able to remove it. Sometimes if you have to get it out of there, you basically you'll break the foam and you'll have to clean the old foam off. So that stuff works pretty good. And then there's what they call the high, there's a name, VHB, very high binding or something like that. It's made by 3M. And this stuff, when you stick it on, it stays stuck. It's rubbery, and this stuff is real good. And if you hang on a second,
Okay.
I'm going to go into my other room. Now I'm all wired up tonight. I have wireless headphones, a wireless
Ooh.
mic.
Well,
so
while
I
you
can
go
wander.
walking, I'm gonna
I
go
can
say
go-
hello to. I'm gonna say hello to
Okay.
Mr. Ron Lockwood, who just joined us.
Hi,
saying
Ron.
hello
I
to
can
everyone.
wander around.
Hey, Ron.
I am
Ray,
mobile.
Bob, Paulie, Joe,
And that troublemaker Bob Casey. Watch out for that guy, Art.
Bob
yeah.
Casey. Simple.
I went
Trouble.
ahead and ordered I ordered a package of these things.
Wow.
Oh,
They weren't expensive. They were like $5 or $6.
What are those, 2-inch
maybe 10
squares?
at the tops from Amazon. Yeah, they're not 2 inches. They're about an inch and a half square,
Yeah.
but they are 3M. They're about 1/8 of an inch thick
right.
and stick like crazy.
Yep.
So I can cut them up into smaller pieces if I want. But this whole bag full of these things was
That'll
so
last
cheap.
you a
And
while.
this is probably what I'm going to use, this thing here, to mount all this into the fuselage when
Okay.
That serves
when
as
I get that.
partly bumper, like a bumper as well, right? Like cushion.
Yeah,
so to speak.
and it does cushion vibrate it
Right,
keeps
okay.
vibrations away from the I know definitely I'm going to mount the flight controller to the plastic with that. I may use the foam tape to mount this whole assembly into the
Right.
into the airplane. But that's the last thing that I'll do after I make sure all the wiring is in, because once you get into here, it's kind of tough to, you want all the soldering to be done before that flight controller sits down in there, because it is down in there. Plenty of room in this little airplane, though.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing that we do when we get a new flight controller is, besides putting away the spare screws,
Does the paper peel easy, Mitch? I guess
Yes,
off the
yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
there you
oh,
go,
yeah.
bum.
There we go. I got a screw stuck between this. Now, first thing I'm going to do, can you see it? Am I magnified okay here? Let me zoom in a little bit. Just tell me if I get out of the picture here, would you,
Yeah,
Carlos?
you look good.
The,
Well, I don't know about him looking good, but that
Yeah.
flight controller looks good.
Yeah.
all right,
Well, yeah.
so we need a small little Phillips.
Hello, Jerry. Welcome.
That's too
to-
big. That's not a Phillips.
What are we
That's
looking to
the
do
one
now,
right there.
Mitch? What are you up to?
We got to take this apart.
Okay.
We got to take this apart. So we got to take these tiny
Oh,
little,
I see.
teeny little screws out here.
Yep.
I mean, these are microscopic. This is like being a jeweler working with these tiny little things.
I think you have magnets implanted in your fingers the way you pick those things up so easily.
It's just years of experience. Okay, and this little board here being double-sided. Well, it looks like the ones they never tightened the ones on the bottom too much. There's little tiny standoffs in there. They're all loose. Maybe they loosened up when I.
Hey, Mitch,
top
does
one
that
down.
have a front and a back?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you have
And
to
the two
remember the
boards are
same way
held-
you take it out, right? Oh,
Yeah,
it has
the
to
two
go in a
boards are
certain
held.
way.
The two boards are held together with a
Got
little
it.
10-pin connector or 12-pin connector that goes into here.
I
The
see.
bottom part of this board is primarily the high voltage regulator where the power comes in, the ESC. The ESC goes out. The top part of the board is where all the peripherals connect, like the camera, video transmitter, the GPS module, and,
Right.
and all of that good stuff. But I think before I solder anything on this, I'm going to put it back together here, and I'm going to plug it in to the computer, and we're going to flash the latest version of iNav. Okay, so I'll put that back together, set it down right there, and get myself a serial cable. And hopefully this won't blow up my live stream, but we will plug this in, and we have a light. Okay. So I guess it doesn't matter if it's not standing straight up, but there we go. Okay, so it's blinking.
Yep.
And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the other monitor, and I'm going to open iNav. Which should open hopefully any minute. Maybe I didn't double click it. There it goes. Meanwhile, you can look at me while I wait for
Hello
iNav to open
to
up.
Brazil Airview.
Welcome, join us. He's been here before. Last week,
Oh, okay, cool.
I think so.
Okay. So here we are. Here we are in iNav. And this is, very similar to Betaflight, guys. So anything that, boy, we lost half our audience here, man. I guess I am boring the hell out of people. We went from
We're
38 down
26.
to 26. Wow. Okay, we got the hardcore here. Good for you guys. This is so similar to Betaflight that most of the stuff that holds true for Betaflight holds true for iNav. Now, what I want to do is let's just connect to this controller, move the thing around, and you can see that it's moving around, so it'll be up on its side. And let's just go into the CLI. We've been through this. See what version they ship this with. They ship it with 2.4, which is not the latest version of iNav. I think it's 2.5.2. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect, and we're going to go into the firmware flasher. But first, we need to be in a mode called DFU mode. whenever you flash firmware on almost any device, you need to be in what they call the DFU. Now, the FU doesn't stand for what you think it does.
Don't F up. No.
DFU stands for Device Firmware Update. Okay, DFU. And on the controller, there's a tiny little button. And on this case, it's this little button right here. See that little white button?
Yep.
Right there where my finger is?
Yep. Yep.
So what I need to do is I need to unplug the controller. I need to push the button in, hold it down when I power it up. Okay,
Oh, we got a yellow.
so I did. And if we look over at back where we were before, right up here where the mouse is, it says DFU. So I'm in the DFU mode. So now I can go to my what's called my firmware flasher. And up here it says choose a board. And this board is a Maytech F411 SE. Okay? And I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure. Target Maytech F. Not see. That's where you look. I could have found it in the version, and there's nothing else that's really even close. But right there, if you look, it actually says right here, iNav Target Maytech 411, because every board has a specifically compiled target, and there's tons of them. So you put the wrong version, you can flash it and probably get it to boot up, but nothing will work right. So you got to make sure that you have the right that you do have the right version. So now it says choose a firmware version, and I'm going to choose 2.5.2, which is the latest stable release. Now, I can also, if I'm really a wild man and want to experiment with all the stuff that they're currently working on, the beta versions and the alpha versions, there's a switch here that says show unstable releases, and I might get something a little newer than this, but I'm going to stick with the proven last stable release, okay? And then I'm going to go down here to the bottom behind me, which is right here. Right here there's a button that says load firmware online. So I click that. And what it's done is it has loaded the firmware into the computer. And then I click the flash firmware button. And I'm waiting and nothing happened.
Uh-oh.
Let me try it again. It says I loaded the firmware online, and it said nothing happened. Because I'm not in the DU mode anymore for some reason. Okay, so I don't know what happened there, but I'm going to start that process all over again. I'm going to unplug the flight controller. I'm going to hold the button down, plug it back in. What may be happening is I'm using an awful long wire. I'm going to take it over here and make a shorter connection. This has happened to me once before. I have a big long extension cord to get me over to the other side of the room, so I can have it on the table where I'm with the camera, but it screws. Sometimes the USB cable is too long and it screws it up. All right, so I'm back in the firmware flasher again. Maytech 2.5.2 load firmware online and flash firmware. There we go. Now it says, yeah, that was the problem. The problem was too long a wire between the flight controller and the computer. So now it's flashing, and this will just take a second, and I'll come back when it's done. So we don't have anybody waiting in the green room that I've missed. No. And so Ed says, who defined it as stable? A team of psychiatrists. Yes, Ed. I think it was the developers, the iNav devs, that actually decide when they consider it stable or not. I think it's stable when they're going on, when they say, okay, this is it on this version. Any more changes that we're going to make are going to be on the next version. You know, we're not going to screw with that last version anymore.
Quick hello to Mr. Rigor Mortis, who has joined us.
Rigor Mortis, how you doing, my friend?
He's a little stiff.
His first name is what? Chris?
Mark.
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 Sorry, Mark.
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 Okay.
Beautiful wife, Darcy. Inside and out.
Yes. Okay. So now we're back over to here, and
There you go.
it says programming successful. So I will.
Good for you.
Let's connect to the board, and now it gives me some startup options, and you got to do this just to get through. So this is an airplane,
Yep.
and that's really all I'm going to do, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to go get. This is how you cheat, guys. This is how you take a job that might take a while and get it done in 2 minutes.
There you go.
I'm going to take my little drift, which has got the same board, and it's going to have all the same controls and all the same switch settings, and everything is going to be exactly the same except maybe a small part of the tune. So rather than go into this iNav and spend a whole long time setting it up with the radio and setting it up with this and that, I'm going to just go in
Copy
here
model?
to this. I'm gonna go in here to the flight controller under here, which is the same flight controller that I'm working on. Okay, I'm going to disconnect that flight controller. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to plug in the flight controller that's in the other model.
And just copy it.
Is that the equivalent
And
of copy model
take-
on a Tyrannus?
No,
Okay.
completely different.
All right.
You'll recognize this when we do it. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to go into the CLI. I'm going to type diff, D-I-F-F, all. And what that does is that gives me the settings for every setting that is not the default settings that it comes with.
That is not.
So the new little flight controller here has right now a version of 2.5.2 iNav with all of the settings default.
Right.
This list is a list of all of the settings that were
Right,
changed
right.
from default. So I'm going to say save that to a file, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. And it actually names it because it knows the aircraft name, iNav Zod Drift, and I'm going to save that file. Okay?
Cool.
And then I can disconnect from this airplane, and I don't need this anymore. I have just stolen everything from this airplane that I did to set it up. That includes all the switch settings on the radio, the layout of the on-screen display in the goggles, or the mapping of which port goes to what device, and this is going to be pretty much the same thing.
I'm not sure if
Uh-huh.
Joe
Find it.
Baylock is being honest. He says, say that again, Mitch. Are you being serious? Say what again? That's my
He
question.
says,
He said a lot.
"Oh, he's not being honest." Well,
No, I'm saying I'm not sure if he's being honest or not. Does he really want you to say that again?
oh, say it again, yeah.
Yeah.
Or else he could, people say, "Well, that's easy for you to say."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get back to my chair here. Now I'm going to find.
No, well, he didn't copy the model, Ed. What he copied is all the new firmware, right?
I copied all of the
that downloaded-
settings. I'll
Go
show
ahead.
you. Let me get to that file, and it's.
But what
right
I'm
over
saying
here.
is the controller came with the original, then you downloaded some firmware, and that's what you added to it?
All right, hang on a second,
Okay.
and I'll go over it. Okay, what I just did.
So confused. No.
What I just did, I put the new controller in and I flashed the latest version of iNav to it. So now what I have here is a flight controller that is not set up. None of the settings are done yet. But the settings on this flight controller, with very few exceptions, like the model name, okay, and some of the PID settings, to just the throws of the control surfaces, are going to be identical to the Zod Drift that has the same controller with the same version of
Right.
iNav. So what I just got from the flight controller of the other airplane was this list here of all of these settings. For example, some of the features, motor stop, GPS. These are things that I set. Where the servos are plugged in, the servo throws and they're set up as a flying wing. Where the devices are connected to the different serial ports. That's what these things say. The auxiliary is all of the modes and switch mappings for the auxiliary. The flight mode, the arm, disarm, return to home. That's all spelled out by this numerical stuff here. All of this whole big block of stuff describes where all the information is on my on-screen display.
Right.
And it describes 3 different screens that I have, 0, 1, and 2, that are switchable. This is what they call master settings. It's got all of the auto launch settings and the hardware descriptions, what kind of barometer it has. All this stuff is stuff that is not default. And here are the PIDs, okay? And there's information about the battery. I'm using the same battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, from where it says diff, I'm going to skip the version. There it says here, start command batch. So batch start, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to cut this
Okay.
right up to where it says save. I'm going to go Control C.
Control C, yep.
I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to connect. I'm going to plug in this flight controller.
There you go.
There I am, plugging it in. Got little blinky lights. I'm going to connect to it. Going to go to the CLI. I am going to put my cursor down in the command line, and I'm going to hit Control V or paste.
Yep. There you go.
And then I'm going to hit save, and the last word showed up there, but all that other stuff is in there. Now when I hit enter, you watch the screen. It is setting all of those settings for me.
Cool.
See that? Every one of those settings is now being set on this flight controller board. This flight controller board is now a clone, exact clone of the flight controller that's in my drift. If I took the flight controller out of my drift and put this in, it would fly exactly the same. Everything would be the same. So now I pretty much have, I haven't calibrated this yet, but if I go and I look at my output tab, it shows me that I have my servos and my motor control. It shows me on my ports tab. It shows me where my serial, where my
Right.
GPS is connected, my receiver's connected, my smart
Cool.
audio to change channel. That's all set up for me. In my configuration tab, it even says the name of this model is a Zod Drift. See, so that's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to change that to Zod Dart.
Is that-
So now this is different. All the same channels that I use. There's my Fat Shark 3, power level 3. All these switches are already set, and I save myself a ton of time doing that when I
Cool.
hit save and reset. So this flight controller is now, I'd say 99% set up. My receiver tab is set up. My GPS is set up. My OSD, if you look at this, you see all that stuff that's on there.
Busy,
Is
busy.
exactly the way I had it set up. Well, that's busy, but then I can go to layout number 1, which looks like this, and that's diagnostics. That's for when I'm tuning in the air. It shows me my PID settings. And then if I want to just fly without all that busy stuff in there, I can flick the switch again and go to this on-screen display, which only shows me warning messages. And of course, that's not going to be there unless there's a warning. So all I have here is my RSSI, my battery voltage, and my mode. As far as I'm concerned, those are the 3 minimum things that you need to know when
Cool.
you're flying. So if I don't want to see all of this crap here, which is great fun because it makes you feel like you're flying a fighter plane with a heads-up display. If
Yeah.
you don't want to see all of that crap, just flick a switch on the radio and it'll change the displays.
There's a
So
question for you, Mitch.
I am, yes,
It said press button for firmware update, but not for cloning. Correct? Question mark.
press what button?
You
You
know that
talking
little
about
button?
the little button?
Yeah.
Yes,
You had-
that's the device firmware. The only time you would ever need to press that button is if you're going to be
EFU.
installing a new version of either Betaflight or iNav or CleanFlight or KISS or whatever system you use on the board. If you
Right.
try to, you can't flash the board unless it's in that particular mode called DFU. And the way you put it in DFU is you hold the button down and then plug the
Plug it.
USB port in. Yeah, because if you just plug the USB port in, it just sets it up as a serial port to communicate with the configurator, whether it be iNav like this or Betaflight. So now this thing is all set up, and it's ready to start working on. So what I need to do here is I need to
Get your soldering iron.
take it apart.
Solder away.
Solder away, yes. We haven't had enough soldering on this show lately. All right, and one of the things we have to solder is this little plug dealie goes right in here, and that's where the all the servos plug in.
Oh.
So this fits down in
Right.
there, like that. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah, that shows up pretty good. Let me turn my soldering iron on. Get the styrofoam out of the way so I don't melt everything. All right. So what we need to do is get some of this stuff here, blue tack, like silly putty, and we'll take this.
Keeps
and
it
we
in
will
place,
stick
Art.
this-
Nice.
Yeah, we'll put that down on there, and that just kind of holds it.
Okay.
And I'm going to take just a tiny little bit of liquid soldering flux, little flux pen,
Right. Oh.
and put a little bit of flux down on these things.
Ooh. Yeah.
That was a
I
lot
need
of flux.
something like-
Okay. All right, and now
Heat up that iron.
there we are. Untangle the cord. And let me zoom in so you can see all of this soldering goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. You can see it nice and clear.
There we
Perfect.
go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So this is I used up the last of my old roll of solder, so I have to open up a new roll of solder here. Imagine that.
Huh.
This is rosin core
Right.
6337 rosin core solder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just loaded.
Diameter. What about the diameter? 0.06.
1 millimeter.
Oh, it is.
1 millimeter, yeah. Okay. So this is some new solder. I haven't used this stuff before. So let's see how it melts. It melts.
Ooh, nice.
All right. So we're gonna start at this end.
There you go.
You could actually hear the sizzling.
There you go. You got it.
And then Paul says that Bardwell is creating a database of factory CLI dumps.
He is, and not just factory dumps, but I think he's asking everybody to send their dumps in for some reason. It'll take all the fun out of setting it up, though. Can you imagine being, sitting in a Chinese factory doing this all day long, every day?
No. Shoot me.
There you go.
Looks clean.
Looks
clean.
soldered.
Looks good.
Yeah, looks soldered. Now I'm going to take a little bit of alcohol and clean that flux off of there.
Joe Baylock is questioning what you call fun. He goes, "Is that what you call fun?"
Yeah, it's what I live for. I actually don't mind soldering. I've been soldering ever since I was in the Army back in the 60s. So, all right, so that looks good, and this is going to be the of course the bottom of this thing, and now we have the power leads that go to the battery go to these two here, and that's going to be an XT30 connector. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this XT30 connector here, and this has got to be soldered. The ESC gets soldered. You see that? Yeah, the ESC, these two wires that come from the ESC get soldered to the ESC outputs on this board, and then the battery goes to the inputs. But the battery wire has to run up to the front It has to, I want it to run so that it plugs right in here with about this much curve in the battery. See?
Right.
So this, the wire that goes to the battery is going to have to be longer than this wire, because it's going to have to kind of curl around in there. I want to leave plenty of room. So that's not enough wire on that connector. So what I need to do now is I need to go see if I
Mitch,
have...
What's going to be to the right of the battery, the flight controller, right?
Over
Of the
here?
pic- Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flight controller will sit right down in there.
Okay, gotcha.
Like that.
Just making sure.
That's okay. That's okay. Here, I'm gonna show you guys what it's like to have a workshop. So what I want to do here is get my little webcam operating, which take me a second. Bear with me.
We're bearing.
I don't see you, Carlos. There you are. Okay, so we want to do this.
I was standing up and stretching.
And now we want to, there we go. Okay, so let's go to this. There we are. All right, guys. So now I am the height of mobile here, wired up, and we're going for a walk. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay. So here we are. You recognize this room?
Yes.
Well,
Charge.
so what I need to find here is I need to find an XT.
We
I need
lost
to
you.
find an XT.
Okay,
You
now
lost
we got
me
you.
what?
No, for a second
Okay.
you just go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I need to find an XT30 connector. So I got this bag of wires and connectors, And you know,
okay.
this is where I keep all the different pieces and parts and wire and
Right.
And your extra FXT screen.
that's just the box from
Okay.
the screen. So let me I'm going to set this down here, and this, you know, just want you guys to be a part of this. And I'm going to look in this bag here. See, I think I'm kind of short on XT30 stuff, but here we go.
You're looking for a long one?
Yeah, well, I actually got
there
this.
you go. Look at that.
But this this has two. I had done this. I had made this for another, for that where I thought I might put two small 2-cells in parallel, but I want to. This is just going to have one, so I need. These are some XT30s, and I need one of these.
They're complimenting on your organization and neatness in the chat.
Oh, thank you guys. So I got one of those, and now I got to find my wire, and I got a whole roll of it.
And Bob Casey is saying he likes to watch you do the drone builds.
Really, the drone builds or the fixed wing builds, or either one?
Actually, he wrote bills, and he actually referred to you as Professor Dude with a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Here we go. We have some
All the wire.
silicone wire. So I have silicone wire. I have two little pieces of heat shrink, an XT30, and we're going to head back. Okay. In case you guys wonder the extreme mess that you don't see in the overhead camera here, this is what we're dealing with. Okay. So let's go back to this camera. And we got to make ourselves
Right.
a power lead for this thing. Okay. Anybody got any questions in
Not at this
in
point.
the chat?
No.
Nope.
We still got some people watching. Yeah.
22?
A few.
Does that require
masochists.
capacitors like you do in drones?
Not with this this low power that it is.
Okay.
We're running just a 2-cell lithium ion,
Gotcha.
very low voltage. So no, you don't need the capacitors. And this particular flight controller has special filtering built in. That was one of the advantages of this new flight controller, was that it has a whole bunch of filtering to filter the power that goes to the video transmitter. So you get a very clean power to the camera and the video transmitter. You don't get a lot of lines and all of that stuff. So this wire is going to have to go from about here on the battery, and I want to leave enough to kind of loop around back behind the flight controller. So I think about that long right there ought to do it. And
I just want to say a quick goodbye to Mr. Rigor Mortis, who's leaving. Take it easy.
Okay. Take it easy. Good night, rigor mortis.
See you, Mark.
Mark.
All right.
Yeah.
And now we get the red one. All right. Amazon. It's amazing. Anything you need, you find on Amazon. It really blows my mind.
Can you move the plane up a few inches forward, away from you?
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Perfect,
going to
right
be
there,
using
right
the
there.
plane right now. Yeah, but I don't need the plane right
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to work right there.
Right now we
Never
need
mind.
this. We need this. We need something to hold the plug while I solder the wires onto it.
Your third
What gauge?
hand out. There
What
you
gauge
go.
What's
wire
that?
is that? What gauge
This
wire
is
is that?
16 gauge.
16 gauge, Mr. Baylock.
16 gauge silicone.
Laylock.
Okay. We twist it. Put a little flux on it. And tin it.
Oh, hey Kelly, ready set drone. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Kelly's in here. Huh? Hey Kelly, how you doing, buddy? What you building? I'm building
Getting some
a little
soldering
tiny.
tips.
I'm building a little tiny 250 gram dart, 250G, a little fixed wing with iNav and everything in it, full autopilot, FPV, GPS, all the functions and everything. So, tiny little thing with a tiny little flight controller. All right, so now we need to connect that to this connector here.
There.
And these little third hand things are pretty cool
Yep.
with the clips. And what I did on this clip is I put some heat shrink over it so it doesn't make claw marks and everything. So
Good idea.
That looks like
I'm
a
gonna
pretty
flip
weighted
this.
one, though.
Well, yeah, they have to be. All
Yep.
right, so this is the negative one up top. So we'll do that first. And on these things, you got to be very careful and make sure you connect the positive and negative to negative.
Yeah.
And there's a little minus sign. I don't know if you can see it. Let me.
Is it fair to say that the flat side is negative or
Flat side
positive
is
and the round
positive. Flat side is always positive on these connectors.
There you go.
And
Okay.
the side with the little curve is the negative side. And if you know, just take a look.
Nice.
All you have to do is take a look at a battery. Where'd my little battery go? I know I had it here. Where'd I put my battery? Oh, it's in the airplane. If you look at this, you'll see that the flat side is the red
Yes.
and the curved side is the black. So this is going to be. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tin this up.
Right.
We're going to take the black wire. We're just going to lay it in there.
Wrong one. Make sure everybody hits that thumbs up for the Professor Dude Man.
Yep.
Professor Dude.
Oh yeah. Thanks for
Now we're
reminding me,
gonna-
Carlos.
Now we're going to do the positive.
Your plug is out of sight. You can't see it. There we go.
Good caller.
Thank you for reminding me.
All right.
And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of this heat shrink.
Yep. Heat shrink.
Put that on here.
All of these supplies are located in the description and can be purchased at Amazon. Feel free to click on the links below.
Let me tell you something, guys. Last
Oh.
month, I got, why is this thing all tangled up? Last month I got, I think $12 from Amazon for affiliate fees.
Wow.
If I keep this up,
that'll pay for 1 month of Amazon
yeah,
service.
it pay for nothing. If I keep this up, I'm gonna have some money here, man. All right, so I'm gonna shrink this. What I usually do, because these heat shrinks, when you shrink one side, you can then push it in a little bit. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but you can push
Right.
it into the indent in there, and then I'll finish and heat shrink it the rest of the way.
Cool.
There you go.
Nice.
So
Very
that
nice.
Doubles. Doubles as a toaster, aren't
yeah, a hair dryer too. Okay,
for
so
all
this
that
is
hair.
this is the connector that's going to go to the battery, and then the other side goes to this thing here, and the battery connects over here. The plus is
Right.
here and the minus is there. But I think what I'm going to do is, rather than have it come out the side like this, I'm going to bring them in.
Ooh.
And in order to do that, I'm going to leave that little thing on there and get this in place and tin up these two pads. Am I in the screen?
Didn't
Yeah,
put any
there we
flux
go.
on.
Yeah, you're right. I could put some flux on.
Paying attention, Art.
You don't really need it because it's flux core solder, but it and I never used to use it, but then after watching a couple of guys soldering and extolling the benefits of using flux, I said, well, it couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt.
True.
But it not, forgetting to use it would not make it any different, since it is flux core solder. So now we're going to make a nice little puddle of
Mitch,
solder on this pen.
can I read something while you're soldering?
Why
Mr.
not?
Ready Set Drone said, "Hey Mitch, sometime I'd like you to have you do a video about what to do when one of the wires comes out of your balance plug on a 4S or 6S battery. No hurry, but I have that happen a lot lately."
Well, basically, you have to, if you're really going to fix it, it's tough. You have to recrimp a new pin on the end of
have
the
a
wire
feeling-
that then goes into the connector.
I think his propellers probably ate it up. You got to put a rubber band on that bad boy. The balance lead, or stick it into the strap.
Yeah.
This way it doesn't get eaten up. I had a brand new.
Yeah, they do get eaten up, but the problem is you have to, if you're going to try to replace all the wires, you can splice to the wire. If it's broken, you can cut it off and put a new end on it, but then you have to worry about dealing with terminating the pin that goes inside of the JST plug. I've got a kit here with all of
We
those
saw it.
different
Yeah, I
things,
remember that.
and that's what you have to do. That's what you need to do, and most guys don't want to get that involved in. God, I'm ready for some new. I'm ready for some new alligator clips here. These things are just in terrible shape.
Turbo?
Turbo.
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 Is
I
that
learned
like
that
a
from
gerbil with the T?
Yeah, I mean I learned that from Charles Barkley. Turbo. Just turbo.
I was going to say, you got to be careful, Mr. Ready Set Drones. That thing can catch fire. He says he tried it to stuff it
Oh,
back, and it sparked
Mitch.
and smelled. Yep.
Yeah, because he shorted it out.
I think I'd rather spend $15 and get a new battery.
Well, you can fix them.
Personally.
You can
Yeah.
fix them. You have to be very careful.
Mitch, your soldering is out of the picture.
Oh, it's the story of my life.
Move it away from. There you go.
Man, I gotta do something with this camera. This camera seems to be getting out of the picture. There we go.
Mr. Kelly just gave you a $25 super
Oh my
chat
God.
for some new clips and
For
a cup of
some-
coffee.
Kelly, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And you know, anytime you'd like, you're always welcome to come in here, be on the panel with us. Always good to see you. Okay,
I'm not
so
touching
now what I need to
Paul. Go ahead.
now what I need to do is solder them onto here. And let's see how I want to do this. I want to put the positive here.
Accentuate the positive.
Mitch, you tin wire and you tin pad.
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
just heat them both up together, let them melt real good, and hang on to it. Now what I did, and then I'm going to take and that I almost need this. This is a ground pad, and on a ground pad, it just soaks up the heat. Put more solder on that. There we go.
Uh-oh, that moved.
There you go.
Okay, so
Good job.
that's going to come around the back like that and come out the side. And I think I should have made one shorter than the other, don't you think?
Yeah. That's good enough for government work.
Well, I think when I get it in there, yeah, that'll be fine. I'll should have made the red one just a little shorter, but I'm not going to take it off. All right, so we got that on there. Now the other thing I need is the wire to go out to the ESC here, and I think I don't know if I want to. I could put an XT30. Nah, I'm not going to put an XT30 on it. I'm going to basically solder this wire direct to the flight controller, which means I'm going to unplug this, but I want to make sure that I get them back the same way, so I don't have to. I think they've already got it set up for which direction the motor runs in. So I'm going to take a piece of paper here, and I'm going to draw a picture of the ESC, and this is the label.
We're not seeing anything of what you're doing, right? That's not important. I'm
Well,
thinking.
it's very important, yeah.
Okay, so then you might want to.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I've got this laid out here with the label up, and this is red, blue, and black. And I'll save that for later. Then I can unplug the motors from the ESC, and then I don't need to worry about the fuselage. I can actually, and I need this wire. This wire I don't need. This is, on an ESC, you got generally 3 wires coming out of it. You've got, oh, they got an XT60 on there already. How cool. Okay.
There you
So
go.
then, as long as they've already got that XT60 on there, I'm going to go ahead and get an XT60 on the 2 wires that come off the flight controller, so that I can unplug it from the flight controller. So
There you go.
back to the warehouse, guys. I won't bring you along this time.
I
And
think
I
I
just
said hello to
need
Mr. Chris Hope, just in case I didn't. Hey,
just
Dr. Drone has just joined us. from Indonesia. What's up, Dr. Drone?
Dr. Drone, how are you, my friend?
Then we have Yowie P51.
Good to see you. Yeah,
and-
Yowie was in here a little earlier, so
Yep,
he's
that's
been with
right.
us.
And I saw somebody else. What was that? Nameless Droner. Welcome,
Everybody should
welcome.
make friends with Dr. Drone. He's a great supporter, too. He's a good guy, no matter what they say about him. Just kidding.
Ah, there's what I'm looking for.
They do talk about Bob Casey, though.
Yeah?
Oh, big time, but I don't want to say I don't want to ruin your stream.
Oh, I was hoping I had one that already had 2 wires on it, but alas, it was the wrong polarity, the wrong gender. I needed a female, and I had with wires on it, and I had a male, so you got to have the right gender when it comes to connectors. All right, just to make sure that what I got is correct here, I'm going to plug it in. Okay, so it is correct. It is correct. And so let's do this. Let's take got us. His alligator clip has seen better days. There we go. That's the positive. So let's put a little solder on that. Can you guys can see what I'm doing? Is it close enough
Yeah,
in?
Oh, yeah.
when we don't see you, we'll tell you. Art will, because he's been pretty
Okay.
on top of that.
So I need just a short little piece of red wire and a short little piece of black wire here.
I
Red.
see.
There's the black. Okay. How we doing, guys? Well, we still got some people hanging in here. I guess it's not too
Yeah, you
boring.
got a few.
Got
Good.
23.
Yep.
Man, we were up to almost 40 there at one point. That
Yeah,
I've never
that's
seen
right.
it. I've
You had
never seen anything
35,
like that.
36.
Yeah, the guys probably came in and said, "Oops, wrong stream," and disappeared. Yeah.
Yep.
I think, I don't know, is Ed Love My Drone still around? Ed, you vertical?
You keep it. Did Ed do a live stream today besides the one he did
No.
with you this morning?
No, just the one this morning. And then he flew a few packs
Yeah.
privately. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Bob Casey's picking on me on the chat. I just want to let him know to
Well,
relax.
that goes without
Well,
saying.
you know what, Carlos? Somebody's got to pick on you every night, every time,
I hear you.
or it's something's wrong. You know what I mean? It's just not right.
Yeah, but you know, I thought
Unless-
Bob Casey was a calm kind of guy, but he's a little firecracker out there. That's all I'll say. Let your stream go.
Oh man. I love this. This silicone wire is the best, man. You can't melt it. You can't burn it.
Cool.
And this side. Okay. And now we want a little connector. This is plus. Need more solder on here. Probably going to fall off.
the solder you're using would probably be too thick to work on those whoop pads, right? You would use a
No,
thinner one.
I thought I ordered the really, vermicelli spaghetti stuff, the real
Right.
fine stuff, but I guess I didn't. I need to get some like 1/2 mil.
Right.
But here's another trick that you can do. You can take two clamps
Yep.
and then solder it like this, where you're not holding on to the wire, and that way you
Yep.
can be sure to get enough solder on it.
Get a nice big blob on. Oh, you got your shrink tube ready?
Yeah, that'll go on. That'll go on before I solder it to the board.
Ah, good job.
So let's flip it over.
Mm-hmm.
And the black wire. Put it
Thanks,
here.
Bob.
Okay.
There you
Now, we got a little red. This is much, all right, and a little black.
There.
So, we should be done with that and done with this. It looks solid.
You're out of the picture. There you go. Good job.
We don't want to miss any of that exciting heat shrink action, guys.
We gotta see how the dude does it.
Okay, are you in the picture? Here we
You're
go.
perfect.
There you go.
Guys, I want you to see the wrist motion. Look how close. You can lower it a little bit, Mitch.
Yeah, towards you.
Bring it towards me.
There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
There you go. All right.
All right, so that's on. Now I can unplug the ESC. And now we gotta solder this to the motor outputs. And we'll do it this way, plus and minus. Okay.
Yep. Put your flux on.
Yeah, why not?
Keep him on his toes, all right?
Why not? I bought the flux, I may as well use it.
Yeah.
I know
I
somebody
used
out
to-
there wants to say what the flux, so I'll say it.
I used to repair and mod guitar effects pedals, so I know a lot about.
You know all about
soldering.
soldering, huh?
Yep.
Well, then you got a leg up for this hobby.
Yep. I used to make my own PCB boards.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you were doing a little bit of that,
Yeah.
weren't you?
I would etch them and
God, I tell you, I think I need more heat on this soldering iron for these big connections.
All right,
These
they're
ground
pulling you up.
connections. These ground
Sorry.
connections are just soaking up the heat.
Awesome art.
And I'll tell you what, I've never... There we go. And
Who can't you hear, Chris Hope?
okay.
Hey, Mitch, I'm just curious, not that it's important. If you were alone, would you play music in the background or something? Not really.
Probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
probably have something going on in the background, but I got guys to talk to, you know.
Yeah. No, I was
All
just, that's what I was wondering.
So what we want to do here, just for grins, is we're done soldering on the bottom of the board. So let's put the board together. Okay. And let's get the little smoke stopper out and plug it in to the battery first. Let's plug the battery into it. Okay, we got a green light. And let's plug the battery into the board. And here's the moment of truth. See if we shorted anything out.
Mitch,
Yeah.
I am told by Chris Hope to tell Mitch I figured it out today.
Figured what
Is
out?
I thought that would make sense to you. All right.
I
Part two is
I
coming. You
don't-
continue.
I don't remember what he was trying to figure out.
Maybe the camera. I don't know.
So if you take a look at this,
Oh,
you see
yeah,
the board.
okay, we see
She's
the
a
green
blinking.
light.
The board's blinking, and we should have coming out of this little connector here battery voltage. So let's get the old meter. And let's check to make sure that we have 7.74 volts. Correct. Okay.
Mitch, it's about time for me to boogie out of here.
Oh, okay, Art.
It's turning into a pumpkin.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
always good to see you, buddy. Thanks for
Well,
coming
thank
in.
you very much.
Thanks for helping out
You're
with
welcome.
with the little stream
And have
here.
a great evening, Carlos. Have a
Thanks
great
for your help.
evening.
Good eye,
Everybody
Art.
in the chat: Chris, Joe, Rick, Joe, Bob.
Just say
God, is he
everybody.
ever
Oh.
is this ever going to end?
Just say everybody. It sounds like it's
All right, everybody in the
an
chat.
episode at the
Good
Wall.
night, everybody.
Good night. I'm sitting here with my finger on the button, Art.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
It's like the Waltons.
There you
Good night,
go.
Bobby Joe. Good night.
And this is this is show business after all, guys. Got to keep the production values up. Well, we're getting a little bit accomplished.
I'm supposed to tell Mitch he figured out the Tinyhawk, the freestyle. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Flying my
super.
Tinyhawk freestyle. I almost
All
forgot.
right.
I got distracted.
All right. Way to go, Chris. Good for you, man. Congratulations.
So he got the freestyle.
Congratulations.
Props out, right? Props showing.
I guess that he's getting brave. He's not going to start with no sissy Tinyhawk 2.
Like us.
He's going to start with a big boy quad.
Telling you.
A little baby buzzsaw, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get the screws back in this thing now. These are tiny little screws.
I mean, yeah. You just pick them up, put them in. You know how many times I do that and they fall off the screwdriver and I'm looking for it with a magnet?
There's a technique to it. There's a technique. What you do, I don't know if you can see this, is you put the screw on the screwdriver, okay?
Right.
And then you take just a little bit of skin on the tip of your finger and you hold the screw on the screwdriver like that. Then you just put it in the hole. It's that easy.
Ten-minute good night from Art. Yep.
Okay, so the flight controller is back together. This thing is like postage stamp size. It's really absolutely amazing.
And you know what? I think that tiny tank Rush was even smaller, right?
It is. One of them is going into this thing too. So let's find the arrow. The arrow. Oh, yeah. The arrow is this way. So it is going to come out. It is going to come out like this.
The right direction.
Did
you want it on that side?
Yeah. The arrow
left?
is right. The
Top
arrow
left.
is right there. See the arrow?
Yep.
Right there. So this little bugger is going to mount right here. Yeah, that'll work okay. There's plenty of room in here for the wires, and then this goes back to the ESC. So what I'm going to do right now, just because all the soldering now is going to be done on the top, so I'm going to take this this 3M thing, and I'm going to cut it right about here.
Sausage fingers.
There we go. And we're going to take that. We're going to put it right there. And I'm going to stick this down to this. And the rest of the work I'll do with it on this. So that's the front arrow. This goes towards the back. I want it to be straight. All right, that ain't going anywhere. Okay, so that's that little assembly now with the flight controller, and this wire will come up here to the battery. This will go back to the ESC, and that's
nice and neat.
That's
nice
pretty
and
cool. Neat. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think that I see a tie wrap opportunity right here. You can't use too many tie wraps. Can't use too many tie wraps. There we go. And so the battery, this battery's in upside down right now. Let's flip the battery over. This is a battery pack that I made. And the neat thing about it is you go out for a day of flying, you don't have to take two of these with you. If you fly 15-minute flights, you could get 4 flights on one battery with this little airplane. It is unbelievable. Hour to hour and a half flying time, depending on how aggressive you are.
Yeah.
Oh, this little bugger will do 60, 70 miles an hour and roll like crazy. You know, I mean, it's a real acrobatic little thing.
You're
So
gonna show
this
us
goes
some of
like
that?
this, and this goes in here. That'll work out great. Yeah, a little extra wire for the slack, and then we'll use some of that other foam tape on these two things, and under here, this thing the whole flat of this part will actually go right up against the bottom of the airplane. So this isn't going to go anywhere once it's stuck down in there. So I think that's a great stopping point for tonight. I'm not going to do all this on a live stream. I'll probably finish it, but we got a good start on it. Clean up a little bit here. After these shows, I always end up with a huge mess of crap laying around everywhere. Okay, Back to me. All right, what time is it? 20 till. And we got 25 people in the house. Wow. Wow, good deal. So what else is happening, Carlos? Carlos, have you locked up? Carlos has locked up. And Carlos is gone. Now it's just me. What do I do? Okay. We'll wait. See if Carlos comes back in. Let me take a look at the chat. I haven't been paying much attention to the chat tonight, guys. Jaybird says very professional. Carlos lost his internet. Hopefully I'll be back, he says. Okay, so he's still communicating with us. When is it going to solder the top soldering ports? Okay, RC, the stuff that goes on the top, there he is.
I'm sorry.
What happened? Push the wrong button?
No, internet. Bye-bye.
Internet, huh?
Yeah.
Jaybird asks when I'm going to put what I'm going to do the top stuff. Well, I could do one of two things. I mean, I don't know if I could do an impromptu live stream and
I don't know why I'm on now. Oh, I'm sorry.
you're on, but your camera's gone.
It's weird.
There you are.
My son just came into the room because he's telling me that we have no Wi-Fi, but yet I'm on the internet with you.
Oh, well, it probably has been coming and going, so it came back on again.
No, but I'm not on Wi-Fi. All right, let me not interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. What I was saying is the only things left to really hook up, I have to hook the camera to that top board, the video transmitter to the top board, the GPS to the top board, and the receiver. 4 things have to be hooked. And I think I'm going to put a lost quad, one of those battery-powered beepers on this thing because it's tiny, and if it ever gets lost somewhere, or if it flies off and goes down somewhere far away, I need that lost quad beeper to help me find it. So there's five different devices have to be soldered to that postage stamp size board. Some of them are 3-wire, some of them are 4-wire. Buzzer's 3-wire, the receiver is 4-wire. No, I'm going to use a R9. So it's
Did you say a buzzer? You're going to have a buzzer on that?
A beeper, one of those loud
Really?
beepers.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I got one of those things buried down in here.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have a 4S battery here, but you've seen them.
I'm hardwired.
If the battery comes unplugged in 30 seconds, it'll start beeping loud and flashing lights and doing all kinds of strange stuff. And they're really great to have on anything that's fairly small. I put them on almost all of my quads, especially the ones that I consider to be long range quads. This is what they look like. Hang on a second. I got one here. Let me. I haven't opened the bag yet. I'll show you.
We're looking at scissor right now.
I see. God, they put all these things in these. First you got to cut the top off the bags, then you got to fight.
With the self-seal.
Hey, look at that. They give you a little battery strap with it.
That's Crazy Pony, it says? Yeah.
Yeah, that's they're like a reseller. This is a pretty standard finder, but a lot of different people package them up and sell them on Amazon that way. But this is, let me give you a little piece of tape, but this is what it looks like right here. It's
That's a camera, right? What is that?
so anyway, this is what it looks like.
Oh, by the way, Rick Halber is asking which one Mitch. I'm not exactly sure which one what. So maybe more details. Go ahead, Mitch.
Well, this it's called a JHE 42B finder, and there's a link in my description to the beeper. Yeah,
That's what he's asking.
It's got this tiny little lithium-ion battery in it. See it?
Right.
And that little lithium-ion battery charges from the quad battery when it's flying.
Right.
So whenever there's 5 volts to this thing, it'll charge the battery, and then if you
lose your battery,
lose
still...
the quad, and either the battery runs itself down,
Or ejects,
or it ejects, this thing
Right.
after 30 seconds will start squealing. And it also serves as a buzzer on the quad. So if you hit the beeper switch on your radio, it'll make this beep. It'll
Right.
also beep when it arms and makes a lot of noise and tells you all kinds of things. So it serves 2 purposes, and it's very loud. And then there's a tiny little button on it right here. See a little button right up top there?
Yep.
And that's how you turn it off.
Hold it for a few
So
seconds.
you gotta reach in there and hold it with the tip of your fingernail for 3 seconds. And I always forget to do that. So every time I'm done flying one of these quads, 30 seconds later it starts screaming and yelling. But there's a couple of times, especially if you put one in a tree or put one down in some high grass,
Right.
it'll take you. You just hit I hit the momentary switch on my radio, and this thing starts beeping like crazy. Take me right to it. Whereas the D-shot beeper, which actually makes the motors beep,
Right.
that's what you hear when you boot up your quad. You hear the motors vibrating.
Right.
That is not going to be nearly as loud as something
Is it
like this.
waterproof?
These I don't think so. And they're about $15. So
Ed had something called a V-Fly, I think it's called.
yeah, the V-Fly. Yes, the
V-Fly.
same basic
Same idea,
They
right?
make two different versions. And I've got them. I've tried them. I like these better. They're a little smaller, and the batteries are a little smaller. But they have a version which is wired like this, that works just like this. And then they have one with no wires. Has a little micro USB port. You charge the battery up from a USB, and then when you push the button, it senses a crash and starts beeping. It also senses day and night and motion after it's crashed. So if somebody else were to pick it up, it would start squealing and flashing.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
if somebody found it.
Ed said it might go off for like 24 hours. How long does this one go? Do they tell you?
Yeah, it depends how charged up the battery is.
Right.
I'm sure they probably come with a halfway decent charge, and if you do any kind of flying, it'll charge it up. They're supposed to go for a full day.
Right. Which could work for you or against you.
Well, and they have a very bright LED on them. And the idea is you might not be able to find your thing in the daytime, but as soon as it gets dark, that light may take you right to it. Especially if it's in a tree. All of a sudden you see a tree that looks like it's got a Christmas light in it. That's your quad. So I think they're great ideas. They weigh about 10 grams. And normally that wouldn't matter. I'm trying to keep this little tiny airplane light. But I'm putting, this battery is, well, that's just for fun. That's just for grins. Drag out
Minnesota
the scale
Paul
here.
says you could always conformal coat it to make it waterproof.
Yeah, but the water's going to get into. You can't conformal coat the little beeper. It'd be kind of hard to conformal coat this. If you got goop inside it, it wouldn't beep. But if it's going into water, I mean, forget it. Here, let's see what this. Let's see what this weighs. Nothing.
It doesn't register. Oh.
15 grams. This whole mess here weighs 140 grams. So there's 145 grams. Yeah, this scale doesn't do real well with 1 and 2 gram weights, but it gets pretty close once you get over 5 or 10 grams. Let's start piling stuff on here.
What are you doing, the whole plane and everything?
I'm just piling stuff on, yeah.
Gotcha.
Whoops. This is
You didn't.
not
you
real
didn't-
graceful way to weigh stuff. Okay, right now
You didn't
I'm at
freeze, did you?
250.
Did
I'm
you
at
freeze?
250. Me?
I only see
Might have.
140 on your scale, just so you know,
Yeah,
and a battery.
might have. This
Okay.
this stupid camera. Sometimes it does that.
Oh, you know what? I don't think you froze on YouTube, but you froze on.
No, I didn't freeze on the stream. I'm still moving around. It was just this camera.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, just
so,
letting you know.
I mean, I could reboot it and do all that, but it's getting kind of late in the stream.
Yeah, it's
to
almost that time.
start with. Yeah, so I'm probably, when I get all up, going to be probably 270, 280 grams in this thing, which is right about where I want it. I've seen on YouTube, I've seen some of the guys flying them at about 330 grams, and they fly great. And I think that if you get it too light, it's not going to be not going to penetrate as much. It's not going to be as much fun.
Be
So I
bouncy.
think in the 250 to 280 gram range, I'm not concerned about the magical 250 gram number for any legal reasons or any of that other crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't that doesn't matter to me.
I don't think they'll be coming
I want it
after
to
you.
have that big. I want it to have that big battery in it too. I want it to have that. Boy, I'm looking at all kinds of. Ken
What's up?
Heron.
Oh.
Oh, he sent me an email.
Oh, I sent you a text only because I lost my internet.
Say what?
I lost my internet and I wasn't sure if you knew that, so I sent you a text.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
Oh, yeah, I see. I got a text from you, man. I'm loaded up with.
There was no way to reach you.
Loaded with notifications tonight. Well, that's about guys. That's about all I wanted to. I think that's about enough for tonight. Got a good head start on that flight controller. In fact, the flight controller
much
is
done.
pretty well done, and the rest of it, I probably got less than an hour's worth of work left to get this thing ready to fly. So.
So we actually
make-
might
I'll
get
make-
some footage for Thursday.
Yeah, I might have it done. I'm waiting for the camera and the VTX.
Oh, okay.
I got another one of those tiny tanks, and I tried one of those new Foxeer Nano Starlight cameras. It's supposed to almost see in the dark too. So
How many milliwatts are those
that's-
tiny tanks?
they go up to 350,
Gotcha. Nice.
and I fly them at 200, which is, for what I've been flying, has been enough. But one of these days I'll crank it up to 350 and see
See what
if it
happens.
makes that much of a difference.
How does it do the increments on something with 350?
It basically goes 25, 100, 200, 350.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 4.
Yeah, because the other ones, the big tanks go 25, 200, 500, 800.
Wow.
The regular tank.
Right.
That's one of the best video transmitters that I've ever used.
Come
In
across.
fact, that's the only ones I'll use right now are those tanks.
Nice.
So Joe's telling me the party is over. And then Paul, you can make a waterproof chloroproof. Yeah, I bought a bottle, Paul. I bought a bottle of that conformal coating.
Haven't used it yet.
I never used it. I never conformal coated anything because I don't. I'm not flying a lot. Wet grass doesn't seem to bother me. Probably wouldn't hurt to coat the flight controller with it, but. My luck, I'd paint over the USB port and never be able to use it again. Paul says his outboard beeper comes in handy all the time. I have it set up on a VTX switch.
Yep.
Don't they also read the voltage? I don't know which one. Okay, these are questions about stuff we were talking to.
Yeah. He learns a little bit more each time, Mr. Joe Baylock.
Good. I hope so.
Yep.
Everybody's afraid of this stuff, and it really isn't. I want to say it's really basic, but once you get the hang of it, it's not scary. And anything that you don't know, there's so much information out there on YouTube, and especially in the Betaflight and iNav wikis on GitHub. You Google any question whatsoever about Betaflight and INAV, and you'll be taken to a beautifully well done documentation on any of the commands, on anything, and it's just a matter of searching out the answers. And you can generally find the YouTube video. There are guys that have more patience and to make videos that go step by step, real tutorial stuff. There's a couple of guys in the FPV and the INAV community. One of them is called Painless 360. Yeah, he's terrific. Another one is XJet, Bruce Simpson, who was on Ken Herron's show last week. Another one is Ian from Wales, is MADS, M-A-D-S, Tech Reviews. Another one is Andrew Newton, terrific guy from England, who does step by step. We got a guy right up here in the Midwest. His channel is Bonafide Pirate, and these guys have made just tremendous videos about ArduPilot and INAV and Betaflight, step by step, setting them up one step at a time. That's their thing.
I have a question.
And yes.
Which is better, INAV or Betaflight by Joe Baylock? Or does it matter?
No, it does. It does. It depends on what you're flying. I think for pure freestyle quads, to get the best performance out of them and the best tunes, Betaflight is ahead of the game. For racing quads. For long range, GPS-based stuff with auto land in a quad and return to home and the ability to follow waypoints and all the navigation stuff that we know and love from the Mavics, INAV is the way to go. But for a quad like this Cinewoop, where I could have put either INAV or Betaflight on it, I put Betaflight on it because it's going to fly better with Betaflight. The devs in Betaflight are more concerned with the fine points of tuning and flying, and the INAV guys are concerned about that, but more concerned about all the automated functions, and that's perfect for a fixed wing. And when it comes to fixed wings, Betaflight does not have the facilities for fixed wing.
Right.
Whereas INAV, I don't know if you remember when I first flashed it and plugged it in, the first screen came up and said, what is this? Is this a quad? Is it a fixed wing? Is it a ground-based vehicle? And it is designed specifically to tailor itself to the needs of the different needs of airplanes and quads and ground-based vehicles. So in that respect, I hope that answers your question. Depends on what you're doing.
The application. All right. Well,
Rick
let me
Halber,
say
thank you
good
so
night.
much for the compliment. Okay,
Yeah.
good deal,
Good night to
Carlos.
Bob Casey and all these guys. But I'll let you say good night to everybody. You usually take care of that at the end of the show.
I'll do that. And thanks for
And,
coming in, buddy. Good to see you.
See you Thursday.
And,
we'll talk.
See you Thursday night. Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks for helping out. And thank you to Art for coming in. And even thank you to Ken Herron for stopping by and saying hi to us. That was very nice. And glad he got his little quad working. So let me say goodnight. Carlos is here. Paul, good night to you. Yowie P51, Joe Blaylock, Joe Jaybird, thanks for hanging in there. Rick Halber, get better, man. Hope you feel better. Who else we got? Bob Casey's still here. Thank you, Bob. Okay, he says, I'm off here. Okay, so he's gone. It was good to have him. And if I go up to the list looking for somebody that I haven't said goodnight to already, I got it. RC Funds Diversions, I see you. The rest of them look familiar. Chris Hope. Thanks for coming in, everybody. If I missed anybody, you know I'm glad that you were here. Thanks so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we didn't bore you too much with the technical stuff and the soldering, but this is a workshop after all. So with that, I'm I'm going to say goodnight. Get a little traveling music here. Call in my trusty sidekick, Spank, the monkey, to say goodnight to everybody. And I will see you around the community, in and out of the chats, on other guys' live streams, and if not before, next Thursday to be certain. So take the rest of the day off. Go play with your drones, and have a great week. Be safe, everybody. Take care. Say goodnight, Spanky.